Welcome back to Department 1, People versus Robert Durst. Our jurors and alternates all have returned. Mr. Durst is present with his lawyers, Mr. DeGuerin and Mr. Chesnoff. We have Mr. Lewin and Mr. Milius, Mr. Balian, Mr. Miata this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been able to resolve the Wednesday afternoon conflict on our end. So we can be in session on both the morning and the afternoon of Wednesday, which is very helpful for us finishing on time. Has anyone made any plans that cannot easily be changed for that Wednesday afternoon? Then good. Let's take advantage of that time and be in session all day on Wednesday. So with that, very good. Thank you. And shall we resume the examination? Mr. DeGuerin.
Yes, Your Honor. We have a stipulation as the foundation for some documents.
Excellent.
I have marked as Defendant's Exhibit N. They're from the Building Inspection Division of the San Francisco
It's more than a foundation stipulation. I told Mr. DeGuerin we're more than happy to stipulate that those can be admitted into evidence. So
Great. And this is, are we on?
Yes.
N. All right. Defense Exhibit N. Do you wish to read those to the jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Or do you wish to
briefly-
read the stipulation to the authenticity of this document?
Yes, Your Honor. Basically, it's a application for a building permit for the Telegraph Hill property, 52 through 54 Telegraph Place. Shows that Mike Yoshida applied for the building permit on March the 3rd of 2000. There's another date, March the 3rd, 2000, and several documents. That coincide with this document, all concerning the alterations and additions to the townhouse on Telegraph Hill.
All right. Thank you, Mr. DeGuerin. And thank you, Mr. Lewin,
no objection.
for the stipulation.
We're trying to set the all-time record for stipulations. So
You've done it, I'm sure. For a criminal case, absolutely.
I don't know if that was numbered, but it's up in the multi-digits.
Yeah. Grateful for that.
Okay. Good morning. Bob, when we left off last week, you had just arrived in Los Angeles. Your plan was to eventually, you and Susan go to San Francisco to see the townhouse project and then to return. And I believe as we actually left off, you had taken a wrong turn off of Interstate 5, but you then went to Sunset and then to eventually got to Benedict Canyon. Is that right?
Yes.
Move this closer.
Is it on?
It's not on. There we go. As you got to Benedict Canyon, for those who don't know what Benedict Canyon Street is, would you describe it?
It's one of the canyon drives. It's Benedict Canyon Drive, two-lane road, goes over the mountains to the valley. It winds this way and that way. Most of the houses have very little land because the canyon walls start right away. So you'll have a street and you'll have a little itty-bitty front yard.
I'm sorry, say it again. You have a what?
From Benedict Canyon Drive, you'll have a little itty-bitty front yard, a small house, and a small backyard. Now that's for most of it. There are some parts of it that have large houses, large houses and large yards, but that's unusual.
As far as the home at 1527 Benedict Canyon, where Susan was living at the time, describe that particular property.
Very small plot, very small house. The front yard was probably just 12 or 15 feet wide, and the backyard was probably about the same.
And what about the driveway and garage?
There was a garage. The driveway was really the front yard.
And as you got there, what did you first see?
Well, first, there were cars parked in front of the house, so I could not pull off Benedict Canyon, perpendicular to Benedict Canyon. I had to pull off Benedict Canyon, parallel to Benedict Canyon. I could barely get the car off of Benedict Canyon.
Did you recognize the cars that were parked in the driveway?
No.
And you were in your Ford
Explorer.
Describe the traffic on Benedict Canyon in that area.
Lots of traffic.
Okay.
Always lots of traffic.
So is there space to park on the street or not?
No, not
All right.
legally. The tradesmen would frequently park on the street, but there was no legal parking.
Tradesmen, you mean like plumbers and carpenters and so?
Yes,
All right. So you pulled your car parallel into the driveway and got it off of Benedict Canyon. Is that right?
correct.
Then what did you do?
Got out of the car, walked south to where Susan's front door was. When I got to within 20, 30 feet of the front door, I could see that there was a piece of paper attached to the front door.
All right, when you saw that piece of paper, what did you next do?
I walked over to the front door. On the piece of paper,
What did the piece of paper say? Was there a note on it?
yeah,
What did it say?
it said, "Bobby, I am doing my walk. Be back in an hour. Susie."
And what did you think?
I thought, well, if she could have left an hour ago, meaning she'd be back real soon, or maybe even she already got back. But also, she could have left 5 minutes ago, meaning I'd have to wait an hour.
So what did you next do?
I rang the bell and knocked a bunch of
You rang the bell.
I rang the bell a few times, and I knocked a few times. From standing at the front door, I could see into pretty much the whole house through the foyer window.
All right. Now we've seen some photographs of the some scene photographs. So when you're standing at the front door, after you were knocking and calling her name, ringing the doorbell, what could you see without opening the door?
Well, straight ahead were the 2 bedrooms. To the right was the kitchen, and out the back of the kitchen was the back door, which was wide open.
Could you see that from the front porch?
Yes.
Could you see into the bedrooms from where you were?
No, you could not see in the bedroom.
Okay, so you looked in, you saw that through the kitchen that the back door was open?
Yes.
And what did you do?
Well, Susan and I, 3 or 4 months earlier, had planned a similar trip. And Susan had canceled at the last minute. And she had decided that she didn't want me to have to wait if she was doing something. So she had overnighted me keys to the front door.
So did you have a key to her front door?
2 keys.
What did you do?
Well, after ringing the bell and knocking for 5 minutes, I unlocked the front door, walked in, and as soon as I got in, I could see the dogs. I don't remember if I saw all 3 of them or if it was just 2 of them, but right away I saw the dogs there
Where were the dogs?
in the living space.
And what did you do next?
I decided I would see why the back door was open. So I walked into the kitchen.
When you walk into the kitchen, is that away from the bedroom?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. What, you walked into the kitchen?
While walking into the kitchen, I walked by the kitchen table, which Susan also used as a desk. The computer was on it, the telephone was on it, and the telephone charger was on
Now, is that in the kitchen or was that in her office?
it. Say that again.
Was that in the kitchen or was that in her office?
It was in the kitchen, but she used the kitchen table as a desk.
All right. And then what did you do?
I got to the back door, and I could not see the whole backyard from the back door. I did see that the backyard was full of dog dew and needed to be cleaned up.
So,
But I carefully walked back to the end of the backyard.
so did you walk out into the backyard through the kitchen door?
Yes.
And then what happened?
Well, I walked as far as you could walk before the canyon wall stopped me from walking. When I turned around, I could see the whole backyard, and Susan was definitely not there. And I don't think any of the dogs were there either.
So what had happened with the dogs that you had seen, dog or dogs that you'd seen in the house when you first went in?
They must have stayed in the house. I did not see them in the backyard.
Did they bark at you?
Yes, they always bark at everything and everybody.
Okay. Did you know the dogs? Had you seen the dogs?
I did not know them. I did not like them.
Yeah. Did they bother you? Did they?
No, they would just bark.
Okay. So now you're in the backyard. You see that Susan's not there, right?
Correct.
What's the next thing you did?
Well, I started hearing a whole bunch of honking coming from the front of the house. And my first thought was there must have been an accident or something. So I walked to the north of Susan's house, where she has a gate and one of those little latches that you can unlock the gate.
There was, let me stop you, was there a lock on the gate? You said unlock the gate.
Yeah, but it's just a latch. It's not really a lock. It keeps the gate doors shut, but anybody can open it.
Okay, so this is on the north side of the house?
Correct.
Is there a passageway there that goes to the front?
Yes.
What did you do?
So I undid the gate, walked to the front of the house, and I pretty quickly decided that there had not been an accident. But it did look like somebody had tried to make a U-turn on Benedict Canyon Drive, because the cars are all pointed in different directions, like they were trying to get around something.
Now to clarify, you said you walked around to the front. Did you go through the house or on the passageway that was at the north side of the house?
I don't know what the question is. I don't know what the question is.
Did you walk through the house or did you walk on the pathway that's at the
I
north?
walked on the pathway.
Okay. Now you're in the front yard, or actually the front driveway?
Correct.
And what did you see there?
Well, I walked back toward the front door. And when I got to about 20, 30 feet from the front door, I saw that the front door was open and the piece of paper that had been attached to it was gone.
Had you closed the front door when you came in?
I did not think so.
Do you know for sure?
No.
All right. So as you get to the front door, is it fully open? Is it slightly open?
Slightly open.
And the note is gone.
The note is gone.
Did you take the note off?
No.
All right. What did you do next?
I walked into the house, hollered Susan a few times, and figured either she's still on her walk or she's in one of the bedrooms. So I walked down from the front door to the bedrooms. And as soon as I got in front of the first bedroom, I did a double take when I saw Susan. I saw Susan lying on the floor with her feet on her back, with her feet towards the front of the house.
Could you see whether she was awake or alive, or could you see? What could you see?
She was just lying there.
So what did you do?
I shouted Susan a couple of times, and I quickly ran to the bedroom where she was. Her eyes were closed. I reached all down. I squatted over her, reached down, grabbed her by her upper arms, and lifted her up
How high did you lift her?
6 inches.
What was she cold to the touch? Was she warm to the touch? Could you tell?
I put my hand over her face. I might have left that out to see if she was breathing, to see if I could feel breath, and it felt cold. Then I grabbed her by her arms and lifted her up. Her head just hung down, and I could see that her hair was in some kind of liquid.
What was going through your mind? What did you think?
What was going through my mind was that she had fallen backward. She had fainted or something, fallen down, and hit her head. I also thought maybe somebody hit her in the back of the head. I did not imagine at that time that she had been shot.
So, what did you next observe?
I wanted to go check the bathroom to the bedroom. I wanted to check the other bedroom. If somebody had done this to Susan, maybe he was still here. I wanted to call 911, and that is what I did.
Let me stop you. Before you get there, did you see what the liquid was that her head was in?
I decided it was blood.
When you lifted her by her arms and her head fell back, was her body stiff or not?
Not that I'm aware of.
All right, you go to the bathroom, and then what do?
I did not go in the bathroom. I decided the first thing I should do is call 911.
All right, so what did you do?
So I ran the few steps it takes to get to the kitchen table, and I tried the telephone, but it was dead. And
When you say it was dead, what do you mean?
there was no sound.
What kind of telephone was it?
It was a landline phone, but there was no cord between what you held in your hand and the charging station.
So when you tried to use the phone, it was dead. That is, the cordless phone was dead.
It was a cordless phone. That's the right word for it.
All right, so what did you do then?
I put it in the charger and tried pushing some buttons on the phone, and it stayed dead.
It stayed dead?
It stayed dead. And then I took the wire, the electric cord that went to the charger, and was just about to plug it in when I heard voices.
You heard voices.
Yes.
Where did you hear the voices coming from?
When I looked up, I could see through the foyer window that there were people, half a dozen people, walking past Susan's house, south.
When you say there were half a dozen people walking past Susan's house south, do you mean on Benedict Canyon, or were they in the driveway, or what?
They were walking on Benedict Canyon.
All right, what did you do?
Well, my first thought was, if somebody had done this to Susan, and one of those people walks in the front door,
I'm having difficulty hearing you. I don't know if the jury is. They're having difficulty hearing you.
well, let me take a minute and drink some water.
Okay.
Can you open this? Okay, where was I?
You heard voices. You looked through the foyer and you saw out on Benedict Canyon some people walking south. What did you think?
I thought, I don't want those people to see me here,
Why not?
because someone had done it. By then I started thinking, someone must have done to Susan what had caused her to die.
All right. So what did you do?
I waited 10, 15 seconds till the people walked south. Then I walked out the front door, shutting it behind me. Got in my car, did a U-turn, went south on Benedict Canyon, figuring I would go to a payphone and dial 911.
Did you do that?
I got to a payphone around where Sunset, just before getting to Sunset. I picked up the phone, dialed 911, and a lady's voice asked for my name. I decided I did not want to give them my name. I was thinking of giving them a phony name. Then I was aware that my voice is very recognizable, that even without a name, it would be me who would have been doing the reporting. So I decided that instead of calling 911, I would send the police a letter telling them that Susan was dead in her house.
I'm not sure that the jury heard all of that, so I want you to make sure that you're speaking in the microphone.
Well, I can't miss the microphone.
Okay. No, it's the silver one, the one, the mesh.
I'm getting a message that the battery is low.
All right, what can we do? Can you switch it out with a different, okay. And Mr. DeGuerin, you may lead him through that, the answer he just gave, just to have him repeat it.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Let's go back and repeat that and make sure the jury can hear what you're saying. You got in your car, you took a U-turn, you drove to near Sunset and found a payphone, is that right?
Yeah,
And you dialed 911 and a lady answered, is that right?
correct.
And then what happened from there?
I decided I did not want to leave my name on 911 and that I did not want to use a phony name because it would still be identified with me because of the way my voice sounds.
All right, so what did you do then?
I got the idea of sending a letter to the Beverly Hills police that Susan was dead in her house.
All right, what did you do next?
Well, I'm not real sure what I did next.
Why are you not sure?
Why am I not sure? I'm not sure because I'm not sure. Somehow, I had pen and paper. Well, first, why I'm not sure is because I had a migraine headache the night before and had taken a Percocet. And that tends to make you feel groggy and hungover the next day.
So were you groggy and hungover from the Percocet?
Yes,
Were you scared?
I don't think so.
Did you keep a pen and paper in your car?
Yes, I had pen and paper in the car, but I know I did not have envelopes, and I definitely did not have stamps. So I must have bought an envelope and a stamp somewhere.
Do you have a clear recollection of doing that or not?
No recollection of it at all.
In the police photographs of Susan's desk, there is a box of plain white envelopes. Do you know if you got one of those envelopes?
I don't remember doing so.
So you don't remember getting one of those envelopes?
No,
Or a stamp? Do you remember getting a stamp?
no,
Do you know where you went to get the envelope and stamp?
no.
So what did you do then?
Well, I must have got the envelope and stamp and wrote a note to the police and mailed it somewhere.
What did you put on the envelope?
Beverly Hills Police.
And on the inside, on the note?
Cadaver, 1527 Benedict Canyon Drive.
You've seen that, or copies of that letter in evidence here. Did you write that letter?
Yes, I did.
Did you lie about it later?
Yes.
Did you lie about
repeatedly.
it for years?
I did not get your last one.
Did you lie about it for years?
Yes,
Why?
because it's a very difficult thing to believe. I mean, I have difficulty believing it myself that I would write the letter and have not killed Susan Berman.
In fact, this is jumping out of sequence, but in interviews with Jarecki and crew, did you deny it to him?
Yes,
Even in face of being shown the envelope and the letter and a similar envelope in which you had sent a letter to Susan, even in face of that, did you deny it?
yes,
Why?
because it's very difficult to believe, to accept that I wrote the letter and did not kill Susan Berman.
Even to the time much later, not later than Jarecki, but to the time when before your trial in Galveston, did you deny to the police that were taking your handwriting samples that you had written that note?
Yes,
All right, so back to the sequence of events. Do you know where you mailed the letter from?
no,
Where did you go? Do you have a recollection of where you went in your car?
I decided that I wanted to get far away from Los Angeles. I decided to go to San Francisco.
Bob, did you have a gun with you?
No,
Did you have a gun in California?
no,
Either in Northern California or in Southern California?
no,
Did you have a gun in New York?
No.
You had traveled on a plane from New York to San Francisco before you went to see Susan. Did you have a gun on the plane?
No.
All right, so back to the sequence of events. You decided that you wanted to get as far away from as possible. What did you do?
I headed north, figuring I would get to I-5 somehow or other.
All right. In Los Angeles, do you know what route you took in order to get to I-5?
I really don't.
And for the record, I'm sure most people understand what I-5 is. Does it go all the way to San Francisco?
Yes.
And what did you do then?
By the time I got to San Francisco, I decided that I would go to New York. I had plans to spend New Year's with my wife, Debbie Charajan.
Well, let me stop you just a second. You're kind of jumping ahead of the sequence. You drove from Los Angeles to San Francisco?
Correct.
And did you have to stop for gas?
Yes, I must have stopped twice.
How long is that drive in either distance or time?
About 8 hours.
Okay. When you got to San Francisco, what did you do?
Well, by the time I got there, I had decided I would go to New York, not to San Francisco. So the airport, San Francisco Airport, is south of the city of San Francisco. So I went to the airport.
Now, what did you do with the keys to Susan's?
I have no idea.
Did you have them with you when you got on the plane?
I don't know.
All right, at the airport, what did you do at the airport?
I drove to the terminal. I might have turned the car off. I might have left it running. But I took my bag that I had taken with me to Los Angeles. I got out of the SUV and left it at the terminal and went to the first gate that I came to and bought a ticket to New York.
Now, Bob, do you know exactly where you left the car? Was it in the parking lot? Was it at beside the terminal?
It was
What?
right up at the terminal.
Do you know if you even turned the car off?
Don't know.
What was your state of mind?
I was trying to decide if anyone would believe that I killed Susan Berman, because I had no reason to kill Susan Berman.
When you say you had no reason to kill Susan Berman, what do you mean?
I mean just that. Susan had been murdered. Someone must have had a reason, a motive, whatever, to kill Susan Berman. And I had no reason to kill Susan Berman.
Did you have any motive to kill Susan Berman?
No,
Was Susan blackmailing you?
no,
Did Susan ever threaten to blackmail you?
No.
Had Susan told you that the police might be talking to her, or she might be talking to the police?
Yes,
When did she tell you that?
but she was always telling me that somebody had telephoned her and wanted to interview her, whether it was a detective or an investigator or a reporter or something. Susan always had stuff to say, and I had stopped taking it seriously years before that.
So how long had she been talking to you about perhaps being interviewed?
Years.
The jury is saying, we've showed it to the jury, it came in earlier in the trial, check that you had written her in 1999, long before the new investigation had come out in October and then early November of 2000. What was that check for?
That assumes facts not in evidence and misstates facts that are.
Restate your question.
There is a check in evidence dated 1999, $25,000. Was that before, long before, there was any reinvestigation initiated by Janine Pirro?
That's gonna call for speculation. You can answer.
Yes,
that.
right. Sustain as phrased.
All right, when, I know we're replowing old ground, but when was the new investigation that you learned about that Janine Pirro had instigated? When did that occur?
I first heard of that from my sister on Halloween, October 31st, 2000. At first I thought this was some kind of a Halloween joke.
But the reason I asked that was to establish that the first that you knew of any new investigation was Halloween, October 31st, 2000, correct?
Correct.
And yet there's a check that's in evidence dated early 1999 for $25,000 to Susan. What was the reason for that check?
It might have been so she could get a new car.
Here it is, it's on the screen now, and I'm not sure the defense exhibit number.
It's exhibit M, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
M as in Mike.
Mr. DeGuerin, do you want a stipulation? It only says 3-3. Do you want a stipulation that it's 3-3-99?
Yes, I think we've stipulated to
Yes.
that.
Okay.
We all agree it's 3399.
Okay. March 3rd, 99, $25,000 to Susan Berman. You say you think it was for a car?
It might have been for her car. Her car had been falling apart.
Okay. Thank you. So, the ultimate question is, was Susan trying to blackmail you for anything?
Never.
Did she have anything to blackmail you about?
No. And the only time I remember us having a disagreement about what kind of money I would give her was when Paul Kaufman had convinced her to do a Broadway musical.
That's that musical that was supposedly based on the Dreyfus affair?
That's it.
And what was the amount of money that you had a disagreement about?
Well, Paul Kaufman.
Yeah, yeah. Let me see if I
Lose our battery?
must have. Yes, it's red. It's
Maybe I have 2 new batteries. I think they're double A's. Will you bring that to the clerk, please? Bring it around. Maybe the Wi-Fi. You may have one also, but no, you weren't coughing on it. But we only have one, so the next court next door have it. Maybe we take our break. We have to see if one works. We'll test it. See if it works. Yeah, let's take a break. I think it's most efficient for us to take our break now. So, ladies and gentlemen, do not converse among yourselves or with anyone else on any subject connected with this case. Do not form or express any opinion on the case. We'll return at 10:10. Obtain a new battery. I'll note that the defense has filed an application for an order shortening time to hear a motion in limine precluding the prosecution from arguing hypotheticals to Dr. Loftus were incorrect. And usually you need an order for shortening time on extrinsic matters, so pretrial motions or the health motion, so you don't really need it. I'll sign it. So we could talk about this at some other time. It's worthy of about 5 minutes, really, to ascertain what the facts are and what they're not. And so this is not the right time. We're taking our break now, but we'll hear it at a right time,
Yeah,
okay?
no, that's fine. We can even
Yeah.
talk about it informally. if
Sure.
you want.
Your Honor, and obviously, just so it's clear to the defense, those kind of issues are up to the jury to decide whether or not facts support
Right, but I mean, as far as willfully stating, well, we can be clear ahead of time. If there's going to be a quarrel about what the facts are, rather than me saying it's up to the jury, I can rule out things that are clearly not the facts. That's fine. No harm in previewing it. That's all.
I just kept hearing it, Your Honor, and I was dutiful in making sure that the questions.
Yeah. Oh, my memory of your questions was that they were factually correct, but the problem was sort of contextual or the words around those facts. I mean, you were quoting the testimony. It's fine. We'll talk later.
Right.
Yeah. There's one other very quick issue. I just want to make sure, Mr. DeGuerin has brought up repeatedly the fact that Bob was not charged in New York. That's absolutely irrelevant. It's not something they can argue.
No. I think that was, I think you're misunderstanding its importance. I think it had to do with, at that point in time, what he was, it was more of explaining his action, which ordinarily is not relevant in that moment, and for that limited purpose it was. I don't think the defense is suggesting merely because it wasn't charged doesn't mean there's sufficient evidence. If they are trying to create that sort of a insinuation, I don't think that's what's happening.
They did an opening.
Well, Your Honor, he said in opening he was going to prove that she got killed in the house. So how is it possible that we can't point out to the jury that he was never charged?
There's my point.
I have a whole section on it.
Yeah,
so
you can't.
Okay, I'll wait for the judge to talk to me about it, John.
Yeah, we'll bring it up at the same time because it's.
Thanks, Your Honor.
It's not really funny.
No, I mean it's not. We've been through it, I think. But anyway, that's fine. We'll hear this. I signed your order.
On the,
Thank you, Your Honor.
motion, I need signatures.